here we are again. I'm Rochelle, the founder of Escaping Your Comfort Zone. Now I would want to take the time to have a chat to you about packing a day pack for something that might last 3 or 4 hours or a whole day, or it might be going somewhere where you're quite remote and it may not be super fast and easy to get help. So this here is my spectacular, this is my Osprey Talon 33 litres. Now you'll see here it's kind of looking quite squat and dumpy, but loads more fits in this pack. I've actually taken this pack on a 4-day walk. I can't recommend it, but it works. There's a lot of one of the things I love about this pack is there's lots of stretchy stuff on the outside, so you can shove sandals and thongs, you can shove a tent in there, a whole lot of different things. But I won't go into that now. Suffice to say, this pack has been around a long time and I highly recommend it. So from the outside, first of all, one of the things, we've got hand sanitizer. What you'll see here as well, this is my puppy dog Boney. So Boney's been around the world with me several times over. He's even been scuba diving with me. He's got his own scuba tank. He joins me on most of my adventures. What else do I have? I have my water bottle on the outside. Now the other thing I have in this pack, and it depends on the pack that you get, but I have a rain cover for this pack as well. Shove that back in. Right, so the first things first that I just want to show you is this pack has the option for a water bladder to reside in this back section here. So here's the water bladder. That one's a lovely 3-litre one with a mouthpiece that wraps around the front of the pack. We'll go into water bottles and camelbacks later. Chuck that one on the ground. This pack is great because it's super adjustable. So you can just adjust the height. It's got quite a reasonable waist strap around it as well, with decent sized pockets. This one isn't so great for accessing the pockets. I kind of have to go back around. So when you are in the market for a decent sized day pack, you want to get something that has nice pockets that you can access towards the front of your hips as opposed to around the back. Lots of things super adjustable. I'm not going to go into the detail of the actual pack at the moment. This isn't a pack review. Actually, before I open it, I just want to show you. So, first things first. So this bit of the pack is called the brain. Funnily enough, it kind of looks a little bit like a brain. What have I got in my brain? So, first things first, I've got my emergency contact details. A little bit of cash, a pen, and that would be where I put my asthma puffer or any medication that I might need in an emergency or somebody might need to give me in an emergency, ideally with instructions. You always keep that in the top of your pack so people know who to contact just in case of emergency. This little piece of kit goes everywhere with me. So this little piece of kit, so this here is what we call a dry bag, because once you seal it up, water can't get in. And I have 2 things in this dry bag. I have this, a personal locator beacon. We'll go into a bit more detail of these later, but basically what a personal locator beacon allows you to do is if you are in a location where there is no phone reception for any providers, you don't have a way of contacting emergency services. This little nifty device gives you a little red button that you can press if you are in a life or death situation. So that's just a little bit of insurance for me. And then this here is my emergency bivy bag. So if you picture a sleeping bag, the shape of a sleeping bag, but made out of foil. I'll go through a little bit more detail of these a little bit later, but this basically means that if something happens to me and I need to keep warm, this is a bag that goes over my whole body and can cinch up around my head. So I'm protected from the elements, I'm protected from rain, I'm protected from wind, and I can keep myself warm until help arrives. If I take nothing on a hike, I will always take these. A couple of years ago, I was up at Mount Buffalo, just driving around. There was some snow up there. I parked the car, there was no one around, and I decided I was just going to walk 5 minutes up a path. There was a bit of snow there, and it was quite a bit of snow there, and I thought that'll be fun. And I thought I'll just get out and do that. And at the last minute, I actually had this in the center console of my car. The last minute I grabbed these two things and shoved them in my pocket. I've got big stretchy pockets. Now, I thought, oh, this is overkill. I'm not going to need this. I'm going for 5 minutes. But in the first 3 minutes, I found myself off the track. I found myself hip deep in snow, and my foot was actually stuck underneath a tree root. So I was in the snow and I was stuck. Long story short, I got myself out and that was okay. But in that scenario where I hadn't got myself out, this is where this would have come in super, super, super important, and probably would have kept me alive if I'd had to get help to get out. So highly recommend those two. We'll talk about PLBs and we'll talk about emergency bivy bags a little bit later. The other thing I've got in the top here is snacks. Love me a snack. Shapes. I've got a beanie in here too. There's nothing wrong with having a couple of extra things to keep you warm in there. And that's basically it. Now, this brain has an underbrain. So this section here, in here, I've got a Ziploc bag with bars. So muesli bars, fruit bars, and they can stay in there for years. I've got some sunscreen. Oh, randomly I have Tim Tams. Bonus. Sunscreen, because you never know when you might need it. The other thing I always make sure I have is a head torch. Again, you never know what might happen. So if you've got one, I just keep a cheap one in there because I like actually using my my expensive one. Shove that back in there. Now opening the pack. So I always carry a rain jacket, always. Doesn't matter what the weather, I always carry that, just as a level of protection. And then the thing that always sits in the bottom of this pack, whether I'm leading or just going out for my own walk, is this dry bag. So unfortunately, I just tore this dry bag as I pulled it out of the car earlier. But again, that keeps stuff dry if in the event that there is rain. So in this dry bag, what do I have? I have a bigger first aid kit. So this first aid kit, I've also added bits and pieces to. I've added snake bandages, and I've added some pills like ibuprofen and antihistamines, and you can add anything else you like to it. This one even comes with a glow torch. It's a bonus. Have a look through your first aid kit when you do get it, regardless of where you get it from, and just see what would you like to add to it. We'll go through those a little bit later. The other thing that I always keep at the bottom of my pack is a thermal top, so I can always put that on if I need it in an emergency, and fleece pants or thermal pants, but these are some good fleece pants that I've got. They always sit at the bottom. I can use them in an emergency. The other thing is too, is if for instance I forgot warm clothes to wear after a hike, I can just throw those on as well. But again, I keep it in the dry bag so that everything keeps dry and toasty, and with any amount of luck, you won't need it, but you know it's there if you do need it. And it might not just be you, it might be someone else you're walking with or someone else you come across. So don't be that person that's not prepared. This is all quite straightforward. I won't, as I said earlier, things like PLBs, no need for that on your short group hikes, slow and steadies. That's really only if you're going to places that are a bit more remote and a bit more difficult to get emergency access to. And that is the bigger day pack.